What's up, everybody? It's your friend Mike Murray back here. This time with a Week 10 NFL DFS review. Of course, talking about Draftkings format. That's the site we're playing on. Um, if you enjoy the content, give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. And guys, don't forget to leave a comment. Kind of lacking on the comments last week. I really like getting a dialogue going with the people watching the video. It always, I feel like we have better weeks, at least I do, when I get your guys' feedback. We can kind of go back and forth. I'm always open to suggestions, and anybody who, has other plays they're on, doesn't like the plays I'm on, agrees with me. So, hopefully this week we can get a little bit more of a dialogue going in the comment section, because, the prior 3 weeks we had that, and we were doing pretty good. Remember, guys, it's just when we're going through the slate, sometimes as the slate moves closer, you see more things, and sometimes that works for you and against you. Sometimes you're on the right plays and you get off them as the slate comes, and then sometimes you're on wrong plays, like we're going to talk about one this week, and you kind of learn some things. You get more information as the week goes on, and we're going to talk about a specific instance of this and related to this past week. Guys, I don't know if some people saw the comment I made in the breakdown video. I did it while the game's going on yesterday. Just a brutal day for me, man. The worst day of the season so far for me. Couldn't hit on anything. Just everything I thought was wrong. And I've had a couple weeks like this season. I had another one where I forget what week it was. It was in the middle, about the end of October. It was a couple weeks ago where, man, I just couldn't. I never felt confident making my rosters. I felt that way this week too. I just, at first I liked the slate, and then as the slate got on, I just kind of didn't. I don't know. I just didn't really know who to play at some certain spots. I'm gonna go on what I hit on, which was very little. What I missed on, which is pretty much everything. So, but guys, in the grand scheme of things, weeks like these happen. And even if you're a pretty good player, it's unrealistic to think that you're gonna nail your picks every week. It's just not gonna happen. This is really hard trying to win GPPs. And if you're a guy who wants to be at the top of the leaderboards, you're gonna have your weeks where you're at the very back of the leaderboards. I made 12 teams this week. I went into the $10 big tournament with the 300K up top. We're going to break down the winning lineup in a little bit after we go over what actually happened on the slate. So the big surprise of the slate, guys, surprising me, was the Atlanta Falcons upsetting the New Orleans Saints. And it wasn't just the fact that they upset the New Orleans Saints. It's the fact that they held them to 3 or 10 points. I don't even remember, but my God. Both teams off a bye week, guys. I did research before the slate, and I saw that Sean Payton, the last 5 times at home off a bye week, the minimum points his team put up, I think, were 32 points. He always has his teams ready to play off a bye week. A historically bad Atlanta pass defense. The thing about Atlanta is they were just blitzing a lot. I feel like they kind of caught the Saints off guard. Saints have one of the best offensive lines in the league. They were at home. Just a weird spot, man. I'm still attacking Atlanta. I'm not sure I buy this. I think they just had a good week, good game plan, caught the Saints off guard. Not. I don't. I think their issues are personnel based. I think teams have seen what their little trick up their sleeve is, they can prepare for it. I think they caught the Saints off guard. Michael Thomas still had a game. Jared Cook still had a decent game. Nothing crazy. I think he had like 14 points. It was an okay game. But yeah, man, I mean, Drew Brees looked terrible. I think it's going to be an interesting thing to watch this week at Tampa Bay. If I think people are going to be afraid to back Drew Brees here. He looked so bad. I mean, he looked really bad. He looked old. He looked washed up. We're going to have to see. I'm not saying he is washed up, but he looked washed up last week. So we're going to have to see what happens this week. Very interesting game is that New Orleans at Tampa game next week. Very excited for that game. What did I hit on? Did I hit on anything? I mean, I did know one of these running backs in the 7K range between Chubb, Jones, Mack, and Bell was going to go off. Le'Veon Bell, another guy who just he looks terrible, man. I think he's either injured or he's terrible, man. I mean, I'm not touching him unless he's like 5K. He really just doesn't look good, and yeah, he doesn't look good. Aaron Jones, I have a bunch of Aaron Jones in best ball. That was a lucky game, man. That was a lucky game. I'm not playing Aaron Jones with Devontae Adams back for the rest of the season. If I do, slap me right in the face, because his target share was down to 9% with Devontae Adams. He was lucky that game. Let everybody else chase those early season games. We're not going to. Sorry, guys. Okay. Guys, we were on Robbie Anderson. Man. 2.1 points, man. Come on, Robbie. Dream matchup. At home. The Giants can't defend number one receivers. They can't defend vertical routes, and that's what you do to me. You put up 2 points. I was watching film about I was really looking heavily into that game, and I was watching film, and I was watching a guy break down the Jets, and he said that Robbie Anderson has not been played well, and it should have given me more pause about this. He said he wasn't running good routes, and him and Darnold had a lack of chemistry last week at Miami. I don't know if we could play Robbie again this season, man. He'll have to be sub 4K, I think, for me to play him again. I'll check out his price in a little bit, but after we break down the winning team, we said something on the Jets was going to hit Tate and the other guy, Slayton. We mentioned Slayton. I didn't have any Slayton. We did mention him. Uh, you know, I said Tate or something was going to hit. Saquon looks injured. I wouldn't play him the rest of the season. I do not like Saquon going forward. I mean, that Carolina Green Bay game did have some fantasy goodness in it. Wasn't much of a shootout, but what are you gonna do? Overall, guys, I don't want to, I don't want to be I don't want to keep talking about last week because it just wasn't a good week for us. I think the best thing to do is just move your focus onto the next week. So that's what we are gonna do here. We can go over all day what we missed on. What else? Yeah, I don't remember. But so hold on one second. So let's break down the winning team. This team won the 300 grand Draftkings tournament, the big tournament of Draftkings. They put up 260 points, 261 points, really. Their team was as follows: Lamar Jackson, Aaron Jones, Derrick Henry, Christian Kirk, DJ Moore, Darius Slayton, Mark Andrews, Damian Williams, in the Ravens defense. So, starting out, Lamar Jackson, he only came in at 11% ownership. Had I known that, probably would have been more on. That's been one of my biggest flaws to my game is I look a little bit too much into the ownership. Probably shouldn't do that. Lamar kills bad teams. He kills bad teams. He just destroys crappy defenses. Probably should have been more on Lamar. Aaron Jones, we were kind of on Aaron Jones, but dude, that was a lucky game. I'm not playing Aaron Jones the rest of the season. Derrick Henry, this is a play I want to talk about. He was a guy who I just didn't like because I wasn't sure that the Kansas City rush defense was still bad. They had been playing better lately when they got their guys back. Their three front seven guys, Chris Jones, Fred Clark, and somebody else back. But it's obvious, man, that rush defense is still just terrible. And Derrick Henry was cheaper than Marlon Mack. Marlon Mack doesn't catch passes. That's something, guys, as the slate came forward. I know I said in the first video that Mack was close to a lock as the slate came forward with Brian Hoyer as his quarterback. He doesn't catch passes. He's 7K. He's going to need like a 30-point game to crush. Ooh, man. I started to not like Marlon Mack. I started feeling, I had a good amount of Mack yesterday. I felt very uneasy about it when that game started. I said, oh, that was a bad play. It's a bad play. But Aaron Jones was a lucky play, man. He fell in the end zone 3 times. He didn't catch any passes. Barely did. Like I said, I'm going to say it again. Not someone I'm touching the rest of the season, most likely. Here's the guy I missed on. I feel very stupid about this. So Derrick Henry, he was a workhorse back. He catches passes. He was at home. He was against what we now know is a bad defense. He was the right play in that range, and I missed that. He was the cheapest guy of all those 7K guys, so I feel kind of stupid about not hitting on that. Christian Kirk. I have a lot of Christian Kirk in best ball. Christian Kirk came in at about 20% ownership. That's not that bad. But man, Kyler Murray had 0 pass touchdowns on the road going into that game. So I thought that was a good spot to maybe fade and just hope that the New Orleans Atlanta game shot out. Not shot out, but I thought New Orleans was going to put up a big number and make a statement off the bye week. And I was very wrong about that. Christian Kirk put up 41 points. I mean, unbelievable game from him. Best game of his young career. they hit those vertical pass plays. They really haven't shown that Arizona hasn't shown that much this year. Those vertical over the top pass plays, they hit one or two of those. They definitely hit one on a long touchdown, but hey man, I missed that. I wasn't really on Kirk. I was more on Robbie Anderson, which was a terrible play. Terrible play. To be honest, man, I do think the Giants' pass defense is garbage. Terrible. I think it's almost as bad as Tampa Bay, not quite as bad as Tampa Bay. But guys, a thing that I am used to really think is that those vertical over-the-top pass plays happen more at home than on the road. Maybe that's just not true. Maybe I need to reevaluate that trend because that might not be true. Hold on a second. There's someone. We'll get back to the guy I was going to talk about. Let's keep going through the team. DJ Moore came in at the same price as Kirk, and he put up 24 points. I was on Moore. I had some exposure to him. He's kind of breaking out right now. DJ Moore is a guy that I really like as a prospect. I like DJ Moore a lot. Darius Slayton. We were on Slayton, man. I didn't really have any of them, but kudos to you who played him. He was a good play. He was cheap. He was very low owned. He was a good play. Mark Andrews did nothing last week. I was very uneasy about him at 5,200. He didn't do anything last week. We didn't know if he was hurt. If he just wasn't a part of the game plan. No idea. Damian Williams, put up like 14 points. Nothing. 15 points. Usually you don't play the running backs against each other, but he had the Ravens defense at 8% ownership, gave him 24 points. So that was a really good team. Kudos to him, Kudos to him. That was a good team. Went really cheap at receiver. Loaded up on quarterback, running back, and tight end. And defense. It's a weird week, man. The guy that really killed me, I had 100% exposure to David Montgomery. Wow, man. That was a bad play by me. The thing that made me nervous about Montgomery, the Lions had all their defensive linemen out. They had no Stafford. It kind of looked too obvious. He was so cheap. You know what I mean? Kind of looked too easy, and it was because Matt Patricia comes in that Bill Belichick mind state, and he takes away what you want to do best. He took away Darren Waller from the Raiders. And I think he loaded the box and took Montgomery away and made Trubisky beat him, and Trubisky did beat him. What are you going to do? I had some Tyreek Hill exposure. I thought that was a pretty good spot at pretty moderate ownership, 7,700. He's going to get more expensive now. Tennessee's pass defense is terrible. They are terrible, man. They're really bad. Jared Cook got 9 targets, I think, yesterday. Keep that in mind. O.J. Howard had a nice game yesterday. We were on O.J. Howard a little bit. But mostly, guys, that was a disaster day for me, man. I was in last place in pretty much all the tournaments I entered. I almost won a bunch of money on the showdown slate, but I just made a couple mistakes. Picked. I don't want to get into it. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Trying to just think if there's anything else I want to touch on before we move on and look at the next week. Let me just go through my team. McCaffrey wasn't a terrible play. Got you 29 points. Can't really complain on a slate like that when a guy gets you 29 points. Drew Brees was terrible yesterday. We gotta watch out for that. Odell Beckham got a lot of production. Well, not a production. Got a lot of targets. They did force him the ball. I said Odell was a tournament play, and he definitely is. He got a lot. I think he got over 10 targets yesterday, so that's something to watch out for. With Hooper now down with the Falcons, there's got to be value with Happy Haddon and Freeman. There's got to be value on Calvin Ridley or Julio going forward, even Brian Hill. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Michael Thomas had a good game. We talked about him, but I'm not going to pretend like that was a good play because it wasn't. Something I also want to hit on, guys, that I noticed in the Carolina and Green Bay game. Aaron Rodgers loves Allen Lazard. If he's cheap late in the season and at home, he's a guy who could catch a long or a couple touchdown pass like a Darius Slayton in a soft matchup. Aaron Rodgers looks his way a lot. I was noticing that in that game. Aaron Rodgers really likes Lazard. He likes Lazard a lot. So we'll be looking for that going forward. It was cold out there for me, man. All my teams I'm looking at just snowflakes, 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 man. But listen, let's just move on to the next week, guys. I apologize if you guys follow some of my plays. That was an embarrassing week for me, but it's gonna happen. It's nothing you can really do. It's not like if I did this and then I would have done that and then I would have gotten up to this guy. I wasn't gonna win yesterday. I wasn't on the right stuff. So let's just go forward and peek a little bit to the next week. We don't want to get too deep into this stuff because I want to save some of that for the breakdown video. But without further ado, let's talk about. Hold on a second. Let's talk about the Week 11 slate. Already Week 11, man. I mean, I'm happy it's already Week 11 because that means I'm almost out of college, which I cannot wait for because this. And another thing I want to talk about before we get into the Week 11 break, the Week 11 peek ahead is I'm not making excuses, guys, but this year I've been really busy with school. I'm a full-time student and I have like a 60-hour a week job. I haven't really been able to put the resources into fantasy financially and watching wise that I would like to. So I kind of feel like that's caught up to me a little bit lately. I kind of feel like I'm not as sharp as I was in the seasons past, but I'm not making excuses, man. I'm still learning, and I actually think it's a good thing in the long run because I haven't been playing for a bunch of money this year, and I'm still learning. You know what I mean? So I don't really play for more than a couple $100 a week. I can't. Maybe hopefully in seasons moving forward, I'll be able to do more. But I've been doing this for about 3.5, 4 years. I think it's next season might be a time where I start playing for a little bit more money. But I do want to prove to myself that I can have the ability to win a big tournament before I start playing. I don't want to be just donating my money to the really good players. That's just stupid and foolish. So let's just peek ahead to the next week, guys. Here's an interesting game. Dallas off that loss to the Vikings on Sunday Night Football at Detroit. I have Zeke written down in this game. I like this game, man. I think this is an interesting spot for Zeke Elliott, man. Zeke Elliott has not really been involved in the passing game, though, which scares me at 9K, but it's the best matchup he could have. He killed Detroit last time he played him. I don't know, man. I mean, this could be another. Detroit's one of these defenses are so bad at everything, man. It's hard to pick where to. It depends on what Patricia's going to take away. Patricia might take away Dak, man. I mean, he might have liked to take away Dak and say, hey, beat me on the ground with Zeke. I actually like going Zeke and running it back with Stafford to Gall. Like, Gall is only 6,700, man. That's a cheap price for his ceiling, man. I like Stafford. No one's going to want to play Stafford off the injury. Stafford's been awesome this year, so I like Stafford even with the injury. I think that's a great play. We've seen Robbie Anderson get deep on this defense. I'm not saying it's where I want to attack Dallas's defense, but what are you going to do, man? What are you going to do? Kenny Galladay's a beast, and I like him in this spot. That New Orleans-Tampa Bay game, very interesting game. We got word today that Lattimore is going to be out for a couple weeks. All systems go for Mike Evans. Or New Orleans rookie slot cornerbacks been playing really well lately. So what they're going to do is they're probably going to push Eli Apple to the outside and cover Evans. He can't cover Mike Evans. This is a Mike Evans spot for me. I don't care if they double team him. I like Mike Evans here. And on the other side, give me Breeze to Jared Cook. Or Winston Evans run it back with Jared Cook. Jared Cook killed his team last time. Now with Breeze, he's seeing more downfield targets. Jared Cook is very sneaky here, man. I like Jared Cook. I'm not paying $9,900 for Michael Thomas. I just can't do that. Sorry, guys. I'm just not going to do that. You could play Ted Ginn. I don't really want to play Ginn on the road. I don't really want to play Ginn on the road here, though. Not going to lie. A couple more games. The Jets at the Skins. Okay. Let me just write someone else in here. Okay. This is an interesting game here, man. On the Jets. Let me look at something here. Robbie Anderson is 4,900. I don't want to pay that for Robbie Anderson on the road. It's a perfect matchup for him. I mean, the Redskins can't cover vertical receivers, man. This is a revenge spot for Jamison Crowder, man. I kind of like Jamison Crowder at 5,700, but I wouldn't fault anyone for playing Robbie Anderson at 4,900. I'm going to have to think about that long and hard, but I like one of the Jets receivers here. I think that's where I'd go here. On the other side, with news that Dwayne Haskins is going to be the QB here, no one's going to want to play Terry McLaurin. You could in tournaments and just hope Haskins takes some downfield shots with them. No, you don't know. Or Haskins could get benched and Case Keenum could come in and, But it's a very risky play. I'm not sure I'm going to even have any exposure to Terry McLaurin this week. It's a good matchup, though. I don't want to talk about that game. Houston at Baltimore. It's an interesting game. Houston off the bye week. I like Watson to Kenny Stills here. Kenny Stills is going to get matched up. Or actually, we got to see if Will Fuller is going to be back. Kenny Stills is going to get matched up on Marcus Peters here. Hopkins can get shadowed by Humphreys. Don't like that. I like Stills on Peters. Just hope he burns Peters deep. He's 4,600. He can definitely kill that price tag. And on the other side, I like Lamar and Hollywood Brown. I think this is another good spot for Lamar Jackson. Okay, this is the last. Actually, no, we'll talk about the final. The last two games I'm talking about: Cincinnati at Oakland. This is a game that has some fantasy goodness in it. On the Cincinnati side, I like Tyler Boyd and Ryan Finley. I think that's a good game. That's a good stack. I want to attack Oakland deep on the perimeters down the field. I think that's more Boyd than it is Erickson. Erickson's kind of that little. This Cincinnati team's hard to figure out, man. I really wouldn't fault anyone for just avoiding this spot for Cincinnati. Probably just go Boyd. He's shown his ability to hit that ceiling in the past more. He's going to be playing on the outside. I'd rather have him in the slot. I don't know, man. I mean, I guess I'd rather have Boyd than Erickson here. On Oakland. So, a lot of people are going to like Josh Jacobs this week. I don't hate it, man. I don't hate that. Josh Jacobs, I think, is 6,900, I believe. Not a bad play. He's going to be heavily owned this week. Yeah. Problem with Josh Jacobs is just like Marlon Mack. He's way more involved in the pass game than Marlon Mack is, but they're not really using him in that role this season. So you can play him, but the guy I like here is Darren Waller at 5,500. I think he's more of a Waller spot than a Jacobs spot. So that's where I go there. Yeah, I think I'm not going to fault him for playing Josh Jacobs. But like I said, hold on. I'm going to go to his targets the last couple weeks. We got 5 targets last week. A lot of people are going to see that, though, man. Yeah, listen, man, I'm not going to fault anyone for playing Josh Jacobs here. I do like Josh Jacobs, but Darren Waller has been killing zone defenses this year, and I believe Cincinnati plays a lot of zone defense, so I like Darren Waller. Last game we're going to talk about for until the breakdown video is going to be New England at Philadelphia. On New England, off the bye week, I like James White. I just don't like 5,400 is a little rich for my blood. The problem with the Pats is I don't think Brady's going to be able to take advantage of where this defense struggles, which is deep on the perimeter on the road in Philly. So I like James White to catch a lot of dump down passes. I don't love the price tag. 5,400 is a little rich, like I said, for me, but he is in play. He definitely could catch a bunch of passes and sneak in the end zone, get you like a 23, 24 point game if you're lucky. On the other side, give me the Philly defense and give me Dallas Goedert for a reduced price. I'm not that afraid of the Patriots defense. Yeah, I'm not on the. I mean, I don't want to say to not play the Pats D. They're still balling, but I'm probably more on the Philly D at home here. Guys, this video went a little bit longer than I would have liked it. Thank you for watching. We'll have the breakdown video Wednesday or Thursday. Like I said, rough week for me here, but we're on to week 11. Already week 11 in this NFL season. Everybody have a good week, and until next time, peace out.